wait, this is the easiest money I've ever made in my life. I believe for anyone that wants to firstly work online, they have to understand like what their goal is and why they want to work online in the first place, and pick the best vehicle that can like help you get there. Starting a business or remote sales, like both can help you achieve the outcome. The amount of input and change you need as a person and the amount of things you need to learn when you start your business is immensely a lot more challenging than getting into remote sales, let's say.
What's the ultimate funnel in 2024 and 2025? Is it content, brand, free community, value?
Best funnel in 2024.
Hey Bas, welcome to the podcast, brother. Glad to have you here.
Thank you, brother. It's a pleasure. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, my pleasure. So a lot of people know you, but a lot of people don't, right? So for those who don't know you, can you quickly tell, like in 30 or 60 seconds, on how you went from just working in a supermarket to the position that you're right now, making millions of dollars online, becoming financially free, and just providing the best life for your family? Can you quickly tell that story?
Yeah, so my name is Bastiaan Slot. I'm 25 years old right now. I run two companies, and right now we're doing about $7 to $8 million a year. One company where we help people get into remote sales, and then another company like where we help coaches. So that's pretty much like what I do right now. But of course, as you asked, like it did not start there. So I obviously started like, in the supermarket, just a typical college supermarket. And it was like the life dynamic I had at the time. And I started in 2018 with entrepreneurship. I started to like, just go on YouTube and like see what I could do online, kind of like how I believe most people start out. And I came across a guy called Iman Gachi, and I saw what was possible outside of like, school, supermarket job. And first, I didn't believe that I could do it. I thought it was a scam. I thought it was all a fraud. And as time passed by, like my mindset started to like become more and more positive, more open. And then in 2018, December, I actually messaged Iman's mentor because his name is Bob. He also lives in the Netherlands. I messaged him, and he had like a small group where there were like about 90, 100 people like in a Facebook group for $75 a month. And I told him like, hey, Bob, love what you do. I see you have mentored Iman. It's super inspiring. I also live in the Netherlands. Like I'm doing fitness just like you're doing, right? So was just like kind of getting myself to open up to him. And Bob said, if you can be successful in fitness, right? Because it requires discipline, consistency, it requires pushing yourself. And if you take those exact same traits, just like you've done in fitness, and you put them into business, you can 100% be successful. And that's really when like a belief got added into like my just perception of like, wow, that is true. And most importantly, it came from a guy that is where I want to be at. And so long story short, because it's a very long story, I'm sure you have tons of questions. But yeah, so Bob was hosting a meetup in December 2018. When I came to the meetup, so much inspiration going around. And though there were like a lot of beginners, there were like also some fairly advanced entrepreneurs. Long story short, came back from the meetup. I was incredibly inspired, and I decided to like go all in. That's like also when I started my SMMA, got my first two clients. Then that didn't really cut it, so we're kind of accelerate through the story here. And then April 2019 came around, and then I got an opportunity from the guys who were actually selling me a course that I was in, like, building my marketing agency. And so I got an opportunity to become like, a setter for them. And I took that opportunity. But before I took it, I told the guy that gave me or presented me the opportunity, like, dude, I'm the most socially anxious, awkward dude that you'll ever meet. I should not be doing sales. And then he said, yes, honestly, like talking to you, I always like have a blast. So why don't we just give it a try? And I was like, you know what? I've got nothing to lose anyway. So started 1 week in, I beat everyone on the sales team to my surprise. That was reported to me, and I was like, wow. And then the person that recruited me into the team was in Serbia. He went to Serbia to like work in house for the company, and he was there for a week, but he got homesick and the pressure was just too much. So he then left Serbia and went back to the US. And then what happened was the guys were like, well, we still need a right hand. So what are we going to do? Right. So a day later, when Eliezer left, they messaged me. They said, hey, Baz, so as you may or may not know, Eliezer, he went back to the United States and we need a new right hand. And we were thinking of you. I was like, wow, that's a life-changing opportunity right there. So quit my school, quit my jobs in like less than 24 hours. Bought a ticket to Serbia. I didn't even tell my dad yet I was going. I did tell him like, hey, I'm planning on going. So did that, and then went off to Serbia. And then I came into the office. It was like a 30-minute ride from the Serbian airport. I got there, and then everyone's like standing in a circle. It's like, Baz, welcome. Super excited you're here. And then I shook hands with the guys that were like also very big inspirations of mine. And then it was a great journey. And I lived in Belgrade at the time. And then in 2019 of September, I restarted my agency, and then I went into the plastic surgeon niche. I hired a mentor, and then I was able to scale that to 15K per month. And then when I came back, I had a message that I got from someone that I got into that course.
Mm-hmm.
And I always did like live videos in their Facebook group. And I was just like sharing, like, hey, here's what I'm doing in my agency. If you get any questions, let me know. Here's what's working well for me. And then all of a sudden, I got a message from someone, and they asked me, like, hey, Baz, do you do any coaching? And I was like sitting across a friend of mine, and I told him, like, hey, someone's asking me if I do coaching. What should I tell them? And then he said, like, yeah, just say you do coaching. Why
Of
not,
course.
right? And then from there, like, I said, yep, I do coaching. And then she asked me, okay, great. How does it work? What do you charge? And then my friend, I looked at him again, and he said, like, I don't know, like, just charge 300 euros or something. And then I said, yep. So for 4 sessions, it's 300 euros. And then she was like, okay, let's do it. Send me the invoice and let's get started. And then I looked at my friend. I was like, wait, this is the easiest money I've ever made in my life. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and then I started to like more proactively look for folks that I could serve and be more intentional in like the DMs. And
Mm-hmm.
then I scaled that consultancy on the side alongside my agency to 10, 15K per month. And that built up really fast. So October 2019 to December 2019, I hit then a total of 40K in a month in December. And then I went back to Serbia, and then, just to put a long story short, 2020 January came around. I moved to Serbia with Anik only after 3 months of meeting her, or two. We moved there. We built up the consulting business. We stopped the agency, I believe, mid 2020. And then we were able to do 30, 40K per month. And then October 2020 came around, and we were like, we kind of want to do something new. September 2020 came around, and we were like, hey, let's help coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we love working with consultants, and we've done a really good job for ourselves. And then I paid $30,000 to a mentor of mine, and I joined his mastermind, which was a big investment for me at the time. And then October 2020 came around. We started to like launch the coaches, and then in the first 30 days, we did 100K cash collected, which was crazy to us. And then in the next month as well, we did $100,000 in cash collected, and I only had like a small Facebook profile. That's all the leverage I had at the time. And yeah, so November 2020, 100K as well. December, we dropped down a little bit to 85K. And then 2021, January came around, we did 91K. And then the next month, February 2021, we did 163K. March, we did 230K. April, we did 330K. And then May, we did 430. And in June, our first 500K month. And it just like kind of speed up in this timeline here. Then a year later, I also started appointmentsetter.com. And then that too scaled to 100K cash per month in the first 30 days. And then 2020 November, we hit our first $1 million a month, and that was with our B2C. We did 500K cash. And then with our B2B, we also did 500K cash. And in December, we hit a million in a month. And in January 2023, we also hit a million in a month. And then from there, we unfortunately dropped down a little bit. We had a lot of like shifts in the leadership team. So yeah, that's the whole story actually. So and of course, some more things have happened, but
Yeah.
that's like 90% of it, or
Yeah.
70, 80% of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great story, man. Like it's hard to summarize years and years of your life, especially for an entrepreneur when you are grinding. So many things happen every single day that
Yeah.
like you can't even summarize in 10, 20 minutes. And when it comes to years, of course, it's hard. So a lot of people are watching this and they are just getting started and they don't have any skills, right? They don't know. Maybe they should start a consulting business, start a course, start a school community, right? Something that
Yeah.
right now is really trending. They don't know what to do, where to start, how to make their first money online. So, what advice would you, general advice, would you give these people?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I'd say if it wasn't for remote sales and building on my confidence, I don't think I would have ever succeeded with my business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this doesn't apply for everyone because I also know many people that just like start their business and do well. but that percentage in reality is very, very small. I believe for anyone that wants to firstly work online, they have to understand like what their goal is and why they want to work online in the first place, and pick the best vehicle that can like help you get there. So let's say you're someone that's doing maybe like two, three, four, five, maybe even 8K per month, but like in an offline job. Perhaps what
Mm,
you care about the most is like you want to be more on like your son, your daughter, your family, or just like want to work from home. You should just do remote sales. And the reason why
mm,
is because starting a business or remote sales, like both can help you achieve the outcome. But the amount of input and change you'd need as a person and the amount of things you need to learn when you start your business is immensely a lot more challenging than getting into remote sales, let's say. That's what I personally experienced, and kind of like for anyone watching this, like that's how I would think when it comes down to like really setting your goal, then picking a model that aligns with the goals you have. And when I say goal, I don't just like mean 10K per month, because obviously behind that, depending on like where you're at in life, maybe again you want to spend like more time with your son, maybe more time with your daughter, maybe like with your wife or your husband. So that's like really how I'd look at it. Very, very simple framework. So goal, values, and then vehicle, and then from there
mhm,
make start in the right one.
mhm,
Now, just don't make the mistake of like stroking up your ego and starting a business when
yeah,
your goal is already achievable with remote sales. Because when you become a part of a successful company like I had, in those 6 months, I learned so, so much that would have probably taken me like 3 to 5 years to learn from
mhm,
courses and making mistakes myself, because I was able to like, just inject myself into an engine, a company that was like already doing super well, and I got like to see so much of the things that were working and what is right and what is wrong, and really adjusted my perception to then slowly that entrepreneurial instinct. And then like when I came back, scaled my agency very fast, that consulting business too. So for anyone watching this, like that's how I would think. Obviously, there's like many,
mm,
many factors, but I think the core factors will be like goal, values, vehicle, and then from there, make a
yeah,
decision. Make sure like you're not making a decision with your ego. That's
got
what I.
it. So I want to understand, how do you approach getting traffic online, getting attention online right now? What would you recommend for most people where they should start? Maybe organic methods, paid methods, and how do they balance like building a strong brand that people really respect, and at the same time they can make money, or they shouldn't care about that? So what's your approach for that when it comes to attention, creator economy, building a brand in general?
I would say when it comes down to like getting attention online, the best foundation to do it upon is of course like pick the platform that your avatar is on, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
most people start a personal brand for also like the purpose of growing their business. So if you're in the biz up space or like you're doing personal development, like IG is really good 80, 90% of the times. It's very rarely that, I mean, every platform works, but if I could invest in one, it'd definitely be Instagram, just because like it's such a good organic platform, where you have the potential to go viral on, which of course you can do on many platforms, but I'd say just pick your platform, understand where your ideal clients hang out, make an account there, and then the most important thing is patience, right expectations, and the right type of content. So I'm going to give advice here for beginners and advanced folks, because I've made many mistakes as a beginner, but especially
Mm-hmm.
advanced to my
Yeah.
surprise, and I've learned a lot of lessons. So it's really important you understand that you must be authentic yourself and put actual effort into your content, because if you don't, you're going to pay way more with the opportunity cost by having it outsourced to someone than if you were to
Mm-hmm.
do it yourself. So just don't be lazy, build your brand, be patient, and understand you're not going to be an overnight success. It can literally take 6 to 12 months or even longer before you start to like see results on the business side. And I believe with a personal brand, it's just like really important that you know yourself and you conceptualize it into certain pillars. So for me, like, that's family, that's freedom, that is client results, I'd say those are like the three core pillars. And if I were to add one more, it's probably just talking about like business concepts, kind of like, how we're doing on this podcast, which I love talking about, but understand it for yourself, understand like which of those pillars also intervene with your business, because it also has to resonate with your audience you're trying to attract.
Yeah.
Those are the fundamental pieces. I really don't think it's hard to build a personal brand. I believe the understanding and the concept of it is very simple. I believe what's really hard is the execution of it,
Mm.
because the process is very simple. It just has to be about you. It has to be intentional. It has to like follow kind of like the formatting trends that are ongoing, kind of like how you had at the time, like Alex Ramosi with the captions, and then like everyone was doing it, and like even people started to sell it in their pitches, and now
Yeah.
that trend is kind of like died down, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so there's a lot of like observation you also have to do. So, but to keep it simple, best way to start, understand your ideal client avatar, conceptualize your values into pillars, pick a platform, and then from there, like, start putting yourself out there in the format of reels. And what works really well for me is like tweet, reel, thread. And that's like the team that I'm following. It's something that I've
Mm,
learned from one of the people that I've worked with in the past. His name is Jeremy Nick Moser. Great person. So that's what I would say for beginners, right? Number two, for advanced people, like,
yeah.
don't outsource your stuff too much. Like if you're doing above
Mm,
20, 30, 40, 50K per month, I see a lot of people like just share these stupid quotes on their Instagram that has nothing to do with them and are the most generic quotes you can ever get. And the problem with that is that it's not building you a personal brand. It's actually destroying your profile because you're just like
mm,
optimizing for engagement and you're optimizing for leads with that. And then, the nurturing that's being done on the leads are like this small, right? Whereas if you have a personal brand and you don't care about the engagement at the beginning, but you understand it builds up, and then like it comes to fruition on like the business side over time, that's the way like I would recommend anyone goes about it. The biggest mistake I made myself was just having an Instagram agency that I was like, okay, just do this, and I put like minimal input on like what kind of content I want. And it's really easy to do, right? Because when you like grow your business, you're doing some figures and you're like, oh, I know it all, people will convert. But then like actually what brought you there is also going to get you down because you're neglecting the initial thing that got you to the result you now have. And
yeah.
so I really believe it's important that people don't outsource their stuff too much. I believe the
Hmm.
most valuable thing you can do as a business owner, in especially as a coach, consultant, or any person selling like an online service, it's investing into your content. Like if your marketing is good and your brand is good and you have a quality audience, you've already done 90% of what it takes to be a 7, 8 figure business owner online, right? So that's really the way I look at personal branding, getting attention online. So both for kind of people that are starting out as well as people that are more advanced. Very simply put, invest in your content. Don't be lazy. Go through the challenges that you need to go through, right? Because some people will think like, man, I just don't know what to write about, or no one thinks I'm interesting. Like, I mean, I can get into those things too, but just overcome those challenges for yourself individually and start getting yourself to a place where like you can make that content and you're just taking imperfect action. You're not over preparing too much.
Mm. Great advice, man. And I think what you said was important because a lot of people think that they need to just optimize for the engagement and for the views, right, on their Instagram profile, on their other places. If you just look even at your profiles, let's say on Instagram, like you are not getting millions of views on videos or reels, right? Sometimes you can get thousands, but what matters is you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars, like from that, grow your
Yeah.
business, and also have larger impact on that smaller audience than you would have on that large audience that doesn't care about you, you don't care about them, etc. So I would say it's a great takeaway. And for the beginners, what you mentioned is also patience, that growing a brand, growing audience takes time. It's not going to be overnight. So if they just focus on serving that small audience that they have, not only they can make more money, but they will also have more impact and they will set themselves up for future success. As you said, to build a 7, 8 figure brand, of course, it takes time. It's not easy. But if you focus on content and if you do it for a very, very long time and focus on the foundations, there is no way that you won't get there. So the question that I want to ask is, right now, what's talked a lot about is the Skool and the Skool games, right? I think you're an investor in Skool as well, if it's not a secret. But what I want to talk about is, right now, there is a little debate going on, or maybe it's just in my mind, I don't know, but I've got this question, which is, should people, in your opinion, start with low-ticket Skool communities, right? Start the Skool community, make it free, provide value, and then make it $50 a month, $100 a month, because I've seen recently you started consulting Skool, right? It's right now top 10 in the Skool games, already is making, I think, 3,000-4,000 MRR in a couple of days. So that should be the approach for the beginners, or they should start with the high ticket and then transition into low ticket. How would you approach this?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think it depends on the value you can add to the person. So
Mm,
if you can add great value for 30, 40, 50, $97 per month, I believe it's
mm,
the best way to do it, because I believe something that went very wrong in the high ticket industry is like people would come into the industry and sell something worth, let's say on a value level and result oriented level, like it's actually worth maybe a couple $100, but they charge $5,000 for it because it was like kind
mm,
of the only way to get into this space. Whereas I think if you start a Skool community, you build up your own confidence, people are getting results, and you have like a great foundation, like you can nurture people up on from to like maybe your high ticket in the future. That's what I honestly recommend to any beginner. Yes, I'm an investor in Skool, but saying this doesn't really help me. I mean, in a way it
Yeah.
does, not like on the grand scheme of things. So this is like my honest opinion about it. And I really believe that it's the best way to build up your confidence as a service
Hmm.
provider, along with like making sure you're not overcharging the people for like actually what's very little in value and what you
Yeah.
get in results. So I'd say like short answer, 100% better than like just going off high ticket. Now, if high ticket wise though, you've maybe like done some offline stuff or you've gotten like great results for yourself, then I'd say of course start high ticket. So the starting point should really depend upon like the value you can add to the market, and of
Hmm.
course, it's hard to like gauge that. So what you want to look for is like baselines. So look at like the thing you want to help people with online. See what offers are being sold. See like what you can help people with financially as well. Because if your offer is maybe health related or mindset related or fitness related, then you want to look at other offers, and that's a little bit tougher because it's not like tangible, as in like, hey, you can make an ROI from this. So long story short, just look at the value and result you can bring to people in their life if they do pay you a dollar or hundred or thousands, and then of course be ethical, look at the baseline, and then have the right starting point.
Awesome. I think that's a very great advice. And in my opinion, and I want to know your thoughts about this as well, the new funnel or the perfect funnel, of course, it's so contextual, right? One person, it would be better for them to start high ticket, another person low ticket, the one person
Yeah,
has already the knowledge. It's so contextual. But overall, what I'm seeing is one of the best funnels, at least right now, is growing with content online, and if you can like add some ads, paid traffic on top of it to just add some fire right to it, fuel to the fire. If you do that and then you grow that, you get attention, you funnel these people into some vehicle that builds trust with them. It can be a free Skool community, it can be long form content, it can be podcasts like this, or pretty much anything that gives people value. Then from that point you can for people that are already want to work with you closely with. If you have a coaching business, they can, let's say, buy your high-end program or get close to, if they
yeah,
want access, buy a mastermind, one-on-one mentorship, or the majority of the people from these free resources, from these free nurturing things, they can go and join a low subscription community, right? And recently, Alex Hormozy, for people that don't know Skool, Alex Hormozy, Sam Hovens, if you know them, they are pushing Skool actively. They are, Sam Hovens is the owner, Alex Hormozy is an investor as well. So they are also going all into this vehicle. So I think it's a great opportunity. But I want to know your thoughts. Like, what's the ultimate funnel in 2024 and 2025 and beyond, in your opinion, for most people? Is it content, brand, free community, value, low ticket subscription, and high ticket
yeah.
services in the backend? Or how would you approach it?
So it really depends on where you're at in your journey.
Mm.
Because for people that have, let's say, already very established personal brand, but they're not monetizing, for them, I would say, like, again, depends on the result you can bring. So that either be high ticket or low ticket. I'd say for the general person, so let's just say, like, someone that's just starting out, I believe the subscription community is like a fantastic way. But at the core of all of it, like, I would say invest into your personal brand, because like that is kind of like the heartbeat of the other strategies and tactics like you want to make work. Because if this is good, like the core of it, like you can make every strategy really work. I'd say what I see in 2024, it's people just reinvesting more into personal brand because ads is getting harder to work. People are getting more sophisticated. The market's been messed over many, many times by terrible coaching programs. And so with that, like you need to establish trust. And the best way to do that authentically and like, not have market sophistication be an objection is by building a personal brand. But again, back to the funnel, I would say best funnel in 2024. Because I teach my clients like B2B and B2C. I'd say for B2C, so like, if you're talking to consumers, so like, just professionals or, like just someone in a 9 to 5 or whoever, that's kind of like at the beginning of it. I would say the best funnel would be, it's a good question. I mean, I know so many. I really want to be careful with my answer. I would say like honestly running ads to Skool. So whether you're B2B or B2C, running ads to Skool has been really great. Now, of course, a beginner cannot do that, right? Because maybe like they don't have a couple thousand
Yeah.
dollars to spend plus to pay a media buyer. But I'd say for B2B, running ads to Skool, it's what I'm actively doing myself, and it's been going really well. Because compared to Facebook, like you get restricted and you land in spam and like there's limitations and like there's a lot of issues with that. So I'd say B2B Skool ads. I'd say B2C, it would just be to grow organically.
Mm.
You unfortunately have no other option. Like unless you have thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars spent, you've got no other option to be patient and really just crack organic content, which can be very fast. Like you've got some people that grow incredibly fast when it comes down to like just organic. Now, of course, don't do it in a way where you're on a reel and you're saying like I'm going to do one backflip for every follower because you're not going to be able to monetize that if you get like 10 or 100K
Yeah.
followers. Just provide value, craft your content in a way like that, resonates with people, attracts followers. It's the most basic stuff. But again, it's the execution that is hard. So don't look for like something shiny or that sounds complex and then you think that's right. Just do the simple, boring thing, get good at that, be patient, and then people will ask you how you've done it.
Awesome, man. Love it. So we talked about the beginners. So I have the last question.
Yeah.
What two biggest pieces of advice would you give to people that already have existing coaching business, consulting business, school
Yeah.
community, right? Like just two things. If you can leave them with that, and you can tell them nothing else, just these two things. What that would be to scale to 10K a month, 20, 50, 100, and beyond. What they should focus on.
I would say on a business level. So I'd say I'm going to give business advice and personal advice. So on a business level, just focus on booking calls and closing calls. Just understand like your core KPIs and don't get like distracted by making logos, making a website, making like all that stuff is not going to make you money. It's
Yeah.
like a practice to get you to make money. I literally hit my first 100K month with just like a scheduling software and a small Facebook profile, and I didn't need any of the complex stuff. So keep it
Yes.
simple. A lot of people come into the space like myself as well, like with academic thinking, and so like you think everything needs to be complex, but in truth, like business is just about like the value you can add and the results you can bring to people. So focus on the right KPIs for yourself. Obviously, if you have a community, maybe that's something else. But in general, for any aspiring coach, consultant, service provider, like just book calls, close calls. That's one.
Hmm.
I'd say on a personal level, have the right values when you are operating through the day. So what I mean by that is, take responsibility for your actions. Don't play victim. Set your ego aside. Be objective. Control your emotions. Like for me, just really creating a subset of values has helped me immensely. I've learned a lot from Sam Ovens and his mindset modules when he was like doing
Yeah.
consulting.com. So have these two in place. These are going to be like your fundamental pillars to success. So those are the two advices I would give on like, a business level as well as a personal level. And I believe if you have, you're gonna fly. And for any beginner watching this, I'd say go to YouTube, go to a video from Sam Ovens called Monk Like Discipline, and just watch that every day. I mean,
Yeah.
not every day because it's 2 hours long, but watch it every
Often,
day.
right? Yeah, I
Exactly.
watched it by the way. Yeah, it's a good video. That's great advice, man. And I think a lot of people overcomplicated it, so it's so simple. They just need to execute on these things, and executing is the hard part. But the people that are ready to put in the work, they just need to do this and stay patient, and they're going to crush it. So yeah, man, where people can find about your stuff, your website or anything, and is there anything, if we haven't discussed, that you would want to leave the audience with, a thought, some encouragement, or something you want to share? You are free to do that.
When it comes down to encouragement, just know that after this podcast, you're gonna be in your room with your laptop, you and your
Mm,
thoughts, your goals. Never
mm,
give up. Understand when there's like a heavy weight on your chest or you're doubting yourself. The worst things you can do is give up or quit. It's really what happens in private and not in public. So doing
mm,
podcasts like these too, like I love doing them, but at the end of the day, like it's really what you make happen in private. So
yeah.
don't just feel discouraged when you're not seeing like big acknowledgement or approval from other people, because at the end of the day, like it's all about results. So keep yourself steady emotionally, have a good support system, and just be very clear with your goal setting. Keep things as simple as you can, and that's what I would say in general.
Awesome advice, man. It's simple, but it's work. I think the only way to lose
Oh
is
yeah.
to quit. And from your own experience, from working with so many coaches, consultants, or people that you helped, I think you can agree that the people that win, the probably one of the most important traits is they just never stop and they don't quit, right?
Oh yeah,
So yeah,
they're
that's it.
relentlessly obsessed,
Yeah.
100%. And last thing I'll add is like if you're good at something, it means you can be good at business, right? Kind of like how
Mm,
I showed at the beginning, like I was becoming pretty muscular, and so like
yeah.
I was disciplined, I was consistent,
Yeah.
I was going the extra mile in the gym, I was like getting extra reps in. So like really try to also complement your own belief system with things that are actually true. Because I used to do affirmations as well, and like though there's nothing wrong with it, you'll believe nothing like something that is actually true. So find what it is for you, take the same principles, reinforce yourself to like a better and stronger mindset, and that's going to help you massively in your business.
Cool, man. Where people can find your stuff, your Skool communities, free stuff, paid stuff?
Yep. I'd say best place, because I've got so many things people can join, is going to be like my Instagram. So I've got two Instagrams. So the one Instagram I'm referencing to is Bastiaan Slot M. So my full name here that you see on the podcast, and it's just like an
Yes.
M at the end, which stands for Miguel. It's my last name or my middle name. So that's the best place to check out some of my stuff.
Awesome. I will leave the link in the description for the people that want to check it out. Appreciate your time, man, and yeah, keep crushing it.
Yeah, thank you for having me,
Thank you for
Arut.
coming on.
It was a pleasure, dude.
Awesome, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.